Hi, and welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. Today, I'm going to show you how to make your own laundry detergent pods. So, laundry detergent pods, what are they? Well, everybody, for the most part here that watches us, has already jumped into making their own laundry detergent. We've even made our own. We made a video on showing people how to do it. If you haven't seen that video, you can check here. Now, we started making our own laundry detergent years ago, and it saved us a ton of money because the amount of markup that goes into Tide or whoever else that makes their detergents, it's just astronomical how much it costs. When you get the basics, put it all together yourself, you're saving tons of money. Well, the problem is that our children do the laundry. That's their chore. And we found that even though we were saving money on making our own laundry detergent, we were actually spending more money by having to make it more often. Because of it being in liquid form, they would make a mess. They would spill it, drop it, the dog would get into it. It was always causing a problem. So I started seeing commercials and people talking about how these laundry pods were the best thing ever invented because all you did was grab a pod, threw it in the machine, and they were great for high efficiency machines. So you take one of those pods, throw it in your machine, and you're good to go. So at first I wasn't really a believer, but then I decided, you know what, let me try. We were at one of the stores, they were giving away some samples, so of course I grabbed one, brought it home. The kids loved them, they cleaned everything great, so we decided we'd go ahead and bite the bullet and get these laundry pods. Well, that's great, but they are even more expensive than the liquid detergent that you buy at the stores. Even though they're great for efficiency-wise and not making any waste, you definitely will feel it in your pocket. So, being a homesteader, we decided, let's see if we can make these ourselves. And that's what led to this video. Okay, so to get started, you need a lot of the same components that you would need for the liquid detergent. You're going to need your soap bar, Fells Naphtha, Zote. You can even use Irish Spring or something like that if you'd like, but it's best when you first try these out to just go ahead and use the laundry detergent soap bars. Next thing is your Arm & Hammer super washing soda. Okay, and then you're also going to need borax. And then for this recipe, there are a couple different recipes. One uses vinegar and hydrogen peroxide, but what I'm going to use is a different recipe that has Oxi Clean in it. And the reason I'm using that is because we get very dirty around here, and rather than put the hydrogen peroxide and the vinegar in, I had Oxi Clean already, so we're going to use this recipe instead. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do is grate up your soap bar just like you do with the liquid laundry detergent. I had already started just so you can see. And this was a super huge bar. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a big, huge bar. I've already grated that much of it. So I'm only going to grate half the bar because this is the equivalent of 2 of the soap bars. So just get yourself a big bowl. Now when you're making this soap, you want to have stuff that is just for making your soap. Just like when you make your detergent, you use a separate bucket or a separate grater. All that stuff needs to be dedicated just to your soap or your detergent making. Okay, so almost halfway there. But you want to use just one of the regular, like the Fells Naphtha bar, it's like half the size of this. And I don't know what I was thinking when I bought these big ones. I think it was because, like I said before, the detergent, when we were making it, we were having to make it so often because the girls were using twice as much as they were supposed to. or they were spilling it, or the dog was knocking the bucket over. And so what we decided to do was to look into these pods, because it's already pre-measured. They just grab one and go. So, all right, so that looks like about half the bar. Round that off a little bit. Okay, and I'll wrap this back up so we can use it for the next batch. Then what you need is you're going to need 3 cups of washing soda and 3 cups of borax. Now, I don't know how easily this is going to pour in. Because we live in the South, this stuff gets clumped up very easily. So we'll just kind of hope that it pours in good. There's 1. Of course, I spoke too soon. But I have my handy dandy ice pick here to work some of it out. I may have to use a different box. That's 1.5. We'll go ahead and do the borax because it's already been beat up. That's 1, 2, 3. Now I know this seems like a lot of detergent, because I know in the other recipe, the liquid recipe, you don't have nearly as much of this the soap, the soda, and the borax. But this recipe makes like 120 cubes, or the pods. So you're definitely going to have a lot here that you're mixing in and making. And what we're going to do is, instead of making all 120 pods, you can actually store this as it is dry before we do the rest of the steps. And you can put it away and then make your pods as you go. So give me just a minute and I'm going to get through this washing soda. Okay, so now that I whooped up on the washing soda, now it's time to get the Oxi Clean. And like I said before, there are a couple recipes out there that have vinegar or vinegar and hydrogen peroxide together in there. But that's basically the same components that would work in the Oxi Clean. We used the one with the Oxi Clean because we already had it on hand. So we're going to do that. And then also, because of how dirty we get around here, all the kids playing around in the mud and everything, it just made more sense for us to go ahead and use this. So go ahead and open up the Oxi Clean. Okay. Put that in there. Alright. And then basically all you're going to do is take all of your components and mix them together really good. Make sure everything's evenly distributed. Run through. Down here we have issues with clumping because of the moisture in the air, the humidity. So you want to make sure that you get most of those clumps out. And just make sure that it's evenly mixed. So you can see all of the soap curls all throughout all the different powders that we've put in. Now, this already smells good. I know you can't really tell, but we're going to go ahead and add some essential oils to it to add just a little bit more smell to it. We're going to use eucalyptus, and then we're also going to use lemongrass. And these two together will make a nice, clean, refreshing smell. So you're going to use about 10 drops of each one. You can do about 15 to 20 drops of one oil. Or 10 of 2 oils, or however you want to do, make your own mix. Okay. Man, I wish you guys could smell that. It smells really good. So you're going to mix that all together. Make sure it's evenly distributed into the soap. Man, that smells. It's going to be so good when we put this in. I've not used the eucalyptus and the lemongrass together in a laundry detergent. We usually use lavender. Okay, so now the next step is you're going to take just a regular spray bottle with 1 part water, 1 part vinegar. And what this is going to do is help it to clump up. You're not going to just pour a whole bunch of water in like we normally would do with the liquid detergent. With this, you're just going to kind of spritz it on there and make your, it's going to start to clump like sand. And then we'll put them into, I just went and bought cheap ice cube trays. You can get these like 2 for $1 at Walmart or the Dollar Tree or Dollar General, anything like that. If you have silicone that you want to use, the problem with my silicone is I use those for my butter, and so I don't want to use the same molds for the butter that I use for the soap. So I just went and got these cheap ice cube trays to be able to make my pods. Okay, so basically what you do is you start to spritz your mixture and just start mixing it up until it starts to clump. It's starting to get there. And it's funny, as you put that vinegar and water in there, the smell of the essential oils is getting a little bit more intense. Now remember, there's a lot of powder in here, so it's going to take a good bit of the water and vinegar to make it nice and clumpy to where it'll set. One recipe I saw, it said like 2 tablespoons of water and 2 tablespoons of vinegar. That's not going to do it. Not for this much detergent. So that's why I was telling you just 1 part to 1 part. So if you do a cup of vinegar, do a cup of water. If you're going to do 2 tablespoons of water, do 2 tablespoons of vinegar. But you want you want to spray it because you don't want to dump it in there all at once. You'll end up with a big nasty mess. Okay, starting to get there. And it's nice to have a metal bowl. If you don't have one of these, you can usually find these at an estate sale or a flea market. They're really nice to have, especially for an application like this. Okay, starting to get there, guys. Now, once this is ready to put into the mold, you have to let it sit and cure for 8 hours. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put these in the ice cube trays, and then we're going to just let them sit, and then when we wrap up this video, you'll get to see what they look like when they're done, when they come out. Okay, almost there. Might need a little bit more water and vinegar. Now I think I used a cup of each, and it's taking almost every bit of that cup. And of course my arthritic hands are not liking me very much right now, but that's okay. It'll be worth it. But the benefit to doing it this way is you're not going to have to worry about the waste that you would with the liquid. Each one is pre-measured, so you just throw 1 pod, just like how you do with the Tide or the Gain or whatever it is. You just go ahead and put 1 pod in for a regular load. If you have a really big load, you'd go ahead and put 2 pods in. Okay, I think we're good. Alright, so what you do is you just make a clump, and we'll do it up over here. But you put it in there, push them down in so that they'll set, move on to the next cube. Push them down in so they'll set. And then the other thing they tell you to do is when you get done with each tray, you can go ahead and spray the top of them too to help them set as well. So it's definitely not a chore for somebody who doesn't like to get their hands dirty. Or in this case, really clean because of the soap. But if you don't like to get messy, this is not a chore for you. But I'll tell you what, this is definitely one of those for any of you out there that like to do stuff with your children. This is definitely a cool little project that you can do with them. Homeschool project. This is wonderful because you're working on measurements and even ratios. Like anybody who's a little bit older, you know, when you start talking a 1-to-1 ratio, I know that my 10-year-old would definitely benefit from this. Okay, so there's a full tray. And you can kind of clean it off a little bit so that you don't have a lot of waste. Push those down in there. And then what you do is just spray the top of them down with a little bit more of that water and vinegar. Okay, and then that's ready to go. We're just gonna let that sit for 8 hours, and then we'll pop those out in the morning so that you'll be able to see what they look like when they cure. Okay, so now that we've had time for these to cure, we let them dry overnight. It's time to pull them out of the ice cube trays. So this is what they'll look like once they've dried. Okay, and then what I normally do is I crack them over a bowl just in case they didn't cure right. And if they don't cure, it just means that you didn't use enough water and vinegar. I had one batch that I emptied out and they kind of all crumbled, and that's okay because all you have to do is just add more water and vinegar and just mix them up again. Make sure they're nice and kind of like a wet sand texture, and then that way you won't have that problem. So let's see what happens with these guys. Oh yeah, they did pretty well. Okay, so that's how they'll dry. Nice solid cube. Okay, and then what I do with these is I just take my container and I just store them neatly in there. Okay. All right. Well, I hope this helps. These will really help us out a lot because the waste that we had from the laundry detergent, the liquid, the money we were saving in making it didn't end up saving us anything because we ended up spilling a lot, wasting a lot. But with these pods, everything is already pre-measured for you, and so all they have to do is grab the pod, throw it in the washing machine. 1 per load is plenty. If you remember, this stuff has borax, washing soda, regular laundry soap bar, and it also has Oxi Clean, so it does a really good job of keeping everything nice and clean. 1 per load is plenty. So thank you for stopping by and checking out our video. If you'd like to see more about what we're doing, you can go and check us out on our website at www.bigbearhomestead.com. You can also go over and check out our Patreon account. Those of you that can, we'd love for you to go over there and check out all of the information and the goals that we have set up for that. Just go to Patreon and look up Big Bear Homestead. You can also go over to Facebook, give us the old like. You'll get updates about different things that we're doing, information that we're covering on our shows, any kind of stuff that we're getting ready to, projects we're starting to do. You'll be able to see that through Facebook. Also through Instagram and Twitter. If you follow us, you'll get updates about different pictures from our projects, different pictures from the garden, just different things that we're getting ready to do. We're also doing still shots of the different videos that we do, so you'll be able to check all that out. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to us. We'd love for you to do that. You'll be able to get notifications when we're online. And if you have any suggestions or comments, you can do that down in the comment box below. Don't forget, tonight we have a show. We'll be on at 8 o'clock as part of the Homestead Network. For all of the show times, you can go to www.thehomesteadnetwork.com and check all of those shows out. It's a great lineup all weekend long. So thank you for stopping by, and have a nice day.